Hey guys, welcome to the shop. This week I've got a mixed video for you. I haven't had the most shop time ever, but I couldn't go a week without making a video for you. It's something for you to watch that I think you'll enjoy. So we drew a CBN wheel on the cutter grinder. The first time that I ever think that I've really been successful at truing those wheels. They're kind of tough to do. I do my first ever heat treat, just a small part, but still it was a success for me. I've got some viewer mail. I've got a garden update. I've got a potential project that me and my lovely wife Elizabeth are going to do together and share on the channel that I think you may enjoy. I know I will. And you know, some other stuff, of course. So let's get started. Alright, so here's a shot of me trying to true up a CBN wheel. I'll explain it a little better in just a second, but I'm trying to mimic a similar setup to one that I had seen at Stefan on Instagram at Stefan Gottswinter. And you know, he had a similar setup to this, and I've got this big 8-inch wheel that I haven't been able to use because it's been really so far out, and I wanted to see if I could bring it into true. Alright, so let me get you a good shot here of what I'm trying to do. This wheel is not true. It's a CBN wheel, and it does not grind or make contact around the entire circumference. You can see by the white color here that it's grinding on this stone. It's making contact until I get to this small area here. And, you know, that can lead to poor finishes and stuff. So I'm trying to true this wheel, and truing these can be fairly tough. This and diamond wheels. So I'm abrading it away using this old grinding wheel held in the power head. Once I've abraded this resin bond away enough to where I'm getting contact around the entire circumference, I'll then take a dressing stick and clean this wheel out. What this will do is remove the bonding material that's holding those CBN particles. It'll cut that back a bit and expose some fresh CBN particles and allow this wheel to cut freely. But right now I just want to get it to where it's true all the way around and making contact, you know, around the entire circumference. That's the idea anyway. Alright, so we've got an old indicator here, just a wore out end, so not worried about it. Nice to have, you know, them around with the wore out tip to use for stuff like this. So we're going to zero this, and you know, it was, I didn't show it before, but it was probably 15 thousandths out. Let me get you in on it. Alright, so you know, now I'm touching all the way around, and I'm within probably a few tenths, which is more than good enough, really. So that took quite a long time. You know, this wheel is considerably softer than the particles inside of this this CBN, or the bonding agent, the resin. So, you know, it just takes time, probably 15 minutes or better back and forth with this in order to break down this bonding material enough to where, you know, it was touching all the way around. And the closer you get, the longer it takes, because you have to break down more and more of the wheel until you know, narrow the spot that's not touching down to nothing. So now it's time to use a dressing stick and you expose some of the particles again, because I'm sure that you know, if you tried to grind with this as is, it would you know, not do very well. So use this to remove some of that resin bond, and then it's ready to use. Probably good enough. So now we'll see how it grinds. So this is just a piece of high-speed steel, just cleaning up the top. And this wheel seems to be cutting very, very well. Seems to be cutting freely. Not making a whole lot of noise. And that's probably a 10,000th cut, which is, you know, not bad. Alright, so there's the finish that I got. It's not perfect. I still think I need to dress back that wheel a little bit. The resin bond in that wheel. Use that dressing stick. It got fairly warm grinding that. It wasn't that bad, but you know the finish feels great. But you can see it's rubbing a little. So, like I said, I'll open that wheel up a little more. You know, try it again, and you know, go from there. But it's definitely much better than it was before, with the wheel, you know, grinding on 3/4 of the circumference. Alright, so here's a quick little job that I got to do. This is, you know, it looks pretty bad. That's the filter out of the coolant tank on the horizontal do-all bandsaw. And you're not, you know, that's not doing much filtering, as you can probably tell. So I need to clean this up and replace the screen, and I believe I have just the thing to replace this screen with. So let's get this cleaned up. We'll get it on the bench and tear it down, and we'll cut and replace the screen. It's nasty. So nothing about that old do-all saw is cheap or flimsy. This is a cast iron housing. You know, just look like standard steel rings here with a brass screen. So let's get this apart, get it, you know, the rest of the way cleaned up, and you know, see if we can replace this screen. So luckily I have had some brass screen laying around, about the same mesh or hole size. Just trace this out and then cut it out. Just going to use some regular scissors. It'll be adequate. There we go. Now just you know, have to knock some holes in that. Alright, so I've got a little piece of 01 here that I made into a punch to punch holes in my screen that I have for my filter. And you know, usually with 01 you can just use a torch to heat treat it, but I've got this little oven here and I want to try to use it. I've never actually used it before, and I'm going to try to bring this up to where it's non-magnetic, and then quench it in this light oil, and then you know, try to use it in a hard state. This is just for fun, is all I'm doing. I've never heat treated anything with an oven before, so I've got this thing and I might as well try it. We're at 1364 degrees from what I've read. 01 is like 1350 to 1400 degrees Fahrenheit, so what was that, 700 and something, 760 Celsius. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to put this in the oven, let it soak for a little while till it's red hot, take it out, see if I can, you know, see if it's magnetic or not, and then if it's not, dip it in the oil and see if it takes, you know, on any extra hardness. It should. Right now it's, you know, it's not soft, but the file bite's easy. So let's get this in the oven and you know, just see if it works. I've never heat treated anything before, and I just want to try it. So I think it'll be kind of fun. We don't have all the proper stuff, but you get the idea. Definitely hot in there. Just a really small oven, but for little things, they're perfect. The big oven just wastes a lot of energy. This thing's extremely well insulated. It's not even really hot. So we'll let that soak for a while, let it get back up to temperature, and check it. Okay, so this is just a Type K thermocouple, and this is a controller actually, but I'm just using it as a temperature display for now. This is just an analog controller on this thing. But 12 amps max. It's a 120 volt unit. It's a Lindbergh little laboratory furnace. It's probably 7-inch square inside, so it's really small. But for most little things, I think this would be pretty good. So I'm just trying it. Never used one before. So there we go. We're getting right back up to temperature. That's a good thing about a small furnace, man. You can shoot right up to temp, and it should maintain it pretty easily. I think the max temperature on this furnace is 1100 degrees C. So what is that? A little over 2000 degrees F. Letting that sit in there probably 10 minutes or so. It's definitely cool. That should have got this thing very hard, hopefully. Looks pretty good, I guess. Definitely hardened it. So there we go. Now we got a little little punch. A little closer look. I want to do a little test on this little piece of scrap here. It's just a PVC backer. Yeah, didn't hurt it, and made us a very good clean hole. Alright, so was it really necessary to make a punch and harden it to make holes in the screen? Yes. Yes, it was. Works extremely well. Getting holes in screen is tough any other way, really. Can't really drill holes in it or anything. Almost have to punch them in to get a good clean hole anyway. Definitely holding up well. Get off me, fly. There we go. So there we go. New brass screens, and the filter is done. Let's go down to the garden. Let's go. Come on. Here. This way. We had some real strong wind come down in this bottom and blow this corn down in the bottom in this far corner. So let's get a look at it and see what kind of damage it done. Alright, so this lower 25% of the garden pretty much has had it. Wind coming through, I don't know what, it must have been just some heavy wind and some gusts. Just took out this corner, really pretty bad. It's been a couple days ago. You can see it's trying to straighten back up, but that's the way it goes. Not much you can do about it. You can try to stand it back up, and my dad did try on some of it, but it just fell back over. The ground, too wet. Let's look at the upper garden. See, the corn's looking pretty good up here. Starting to get good ears on it. Tomatoes, I don't know. They look all right. The ones that we've had that have gotten ripe or rotten, and I hope we don't run into the same issue that we had last year where they just rot on the vines, but we'll see. Doesn't look too bad yet. Vines actually look okay. But the beans are not doing any good. The vines, they look good, but there's just no beans almost on the vines at all. So very, very little. Just not coming on very good. Don't know what the deal is with that. So we got deer. It's been eating the tops off of the beans on this end. Pretty good, really. You can see everywhere there. They've been eating the tops off of them. So we've been dealing with that. So out on this farther end, away from the house and the dog, the deer feel, I guess, more comfortable to come out on this end, of course. You see all these are eating pretty good. I mean, these are eating down way down. But you got to plan enough, I guess, for the losses you're going to have. And we get a lot of critters around here that like to eat also. Peppers looking pretty good. So there's no doubt to me that the people who watch these types of videos, machinist type videos, are some of the most giving and caring people that I've ever met. I mean, all you got to do is look in the comments of all the machinist creators' videos, and you'll see they're usually full of good, encouraging comments, good people, great suggestions, and just really smart people who enjoy what they do and are passionate about it. And over the last few months, I've received quite a bit of your mail, some really nice stuff from people who just want to help out and make life around here a little easier. And it always amazes me that someone would take the time to help someone out that's probably in another state or even country by boxing something up that they have and shipping it to them, at their cost, in most cases, just to help out. So I want to share with you some of the stuff that was sent in, some of the stuff I've collected over the last 2 or 3 months, and just take a little time to share it with you because it's amazing, and I'm surprised, and I'm sure you will be too. So let me show you some of the stuff that I got. Alright, so this year at the 2019 Barzy Summer Bash, it was sponsored by American Rotary, and Chris Feeble was there. He is a representative of the company. And he was aware that I had issue with my old American Rotary phase converter, the one I've been using and still use at this moment, making noise. Now, I went into it, I done a few things to it, and it seemed to have at least helped the noise that it makes. And it's been a great unit, really, other than that. It's been completely reliable. It's never let me down. But he wanted to make it right, and he offered in exchange for my old phase converter, he said he would send me this one. So I'm going to box up my old unit and send it back, in exchange for this. So this almost beat me home from the bash. I've had this for quite some time. I've showed it on my Instagram and Facebook, so it's not really new news, but it's a 20 horsepower outdoor unit with a remote starter switch. So this week I've been cleaning out a spot behind the shop in order to put this thing. I got to build an enclosure and stuff over it. Not that that's required, but I really want to keep the rain off of it. But what a nice gift, and thank you, American Rotary. Like I said, they're a big sponsor of the bash and make a lot of the stuff that the machinist community does possible. So thank you guys. And check this thing out on the inside. And they've done an extremely nice job of assembling this. I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner of an installation than that. This is a watertight enclosure, got a seal all the way around. So I expect this thing to be pretty nice. So can't wait to install it. We'll show some of that when I go to do it, and we'll run this thing through its paces and see how good it is. I'm sure it's nice. So, thank you, American Rotary, and thank you, Chris. This is a great gift, and I'm excited to be able to power my entire shop pretty much with this thing, at least for now anyway. Alright, so I've turned my treatise membrane unit here, cast iron top Craftsman table saw, into a temporary table. A buddy of mine was moving out of town, and he did not want to take this with him, and he offered it to me for free, so I went and got it. And I've always had a place in my heart for these cast iron topped table saws. I didn't have a table saw. My dad's got two exactly like this mechanically, the old Craftsman cast iron top. They're cosmetically different but mechanically the same. So now I've got one, and I've used it a couple times. Pretty nice, off-topic woodworking equipment, but still, a new tool added to the shop. Now, as far as viewer mail, James Dedman, that's his YouTube channel. It's a Sawlog Plastic Hubs, but it's James Dedman, sent me a couple inserts for my Solid Rock Machine Shop half-inch boring bar. Now, Steve Barton sells these, and you get one insert with them, and apparently James needed some new inserts. They only sold these in packs of 10, and they're quite expensive, but he did not see himself using 10 inserts, and decided to send me a couple. So I really appreciate it. Supposedly these are quite pricey. Sumito inserts. I'm not necessarily familiar with them, but I remember Steve Barton saying they were quite pricey too. So I appreciate having a couple extra. I didn't have any. So thank you, James. I really appreciate it. Go check out James Dedman. It was really nice of him. He's sent me stuff before. So thank you. Alright, so I've got a couple items here. Let's start with the big handle. Now, I just got this in. This was sent to me by my friend and patron Vernon Courier from the YouTube channel Mature Patriot, so go check him out. He had watched the video last week where I modified the vise on the big do-all saw, and I need a handle for it. So he had contacted me with a couple that he had found on an auction site, asked me which one I would be interested in, and he paid for it and had it shipped right to me, so I really appreciate that. This is a heck of a nice handle. Look how thick that thing is, and it's completely cast iron, square drive, It is actually a tapered square drive. I don't know if that is just draft from casting or if it's made to be a tapered drive, but one way or another it should be an interesting machining project to fit this to the screw on the big do-all. So thank you, Vernon. I really appreciate it. Go check out Vernon Courier over at the Mature Patriot. He's a super nice guy. He's helped me out with several things. And these TG100 collets came all the way from Northern Ireland. Some time ago, my buddy Robert had contacted me and said he had a bunch of these collets and was wondering if I'd be interested in them. And I said, yeah, of course. He had mentioned that they need cleaned. They're a little rough. They've got some surface rust and stuff on them. Nothing that bad. Nothing that a good soak and some rust remover won't take care of, I'm sure. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to soak these things, and then I'll have a bunch of collets to use for my 50 taper holder and my K&T mill. So thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it. That's a nice gift, and to ship them all that way, and that's that's very nice of you. So thank you. All right, so literally 30 minutes before filming this, these cabinets showed up on the mail truck. Now, my buddy Carlos sent these in, completely unexpected, Carlos Atkins, and to be honest, they could not have showed up at a better time. I've just been going through my drills this week, my loose drills, trying to figure out a way to store them that's somewhat organized, that I can get a drill that I need, if I have a dull one. But there just is no good way other than a cabinet similar to this. Now these are old H-U-O-T, I can't pronounce, Hewitt brand, but I'm not going to do a thing to these other than wipe them off and use them. I think they're perfect just the way that they are. They've probably been around a lot longer than I have. So I'm excited to get these. I can't say thanks enough. It's perfect timing. It really is. Everything, the drawers work. I got a couple bends here that I'll straighten out. But other than that, I'm not going to paint them. I'm not going to do anything to them. I'm just going to use them. So thank you, Carlos. I really appreciate it. And it's just amazing how things work out. It's perfect timing. All right, so yesterday I took my drill press and I set it on this large wooden stand. It was sitting on just a four-legged stand, and pretty much other than stacking stuff under it, it was all wasted space. And I had this old wooden cabinet, and I decided, why not take advantage of the cabinet and set my drill press on it. That way I could put my drills and stuff inside the cabinet. That makes sense. Other than piling them all up, which I still need to sort through some of this stuff. But anyway, all my loose drills I put down here in the bottom. These are just extras or ones that need cleaned or de-rusted, and I had a whole bunch of them and I didn't know what to do with them other than, what do? You don't throw these away. You stick them in a bag and hope that you never ever need to find one, because you could not find a drill of a specific size out of this in less than a few minutes if you tried your best. So those indexes showed up at the perfect time. I'm going to sort through these and put them in their proper spot. That way when one gets dull, you don't have to dig through bags of loose drills. You can just go to the drawer and pick up the drill you need. So perfect timing. Thank you, Carlos. I really appreciate it. It's amazing the way things work out. Alright, so me and my lovely wife Elizabeth went to a meet and greet this week in Lexington, Kentucky. It was me, Adam Booth, Brian Block, and the ladies. We went to, what was the place? Blue Stallion. Blue Stallion. And, met some wonderful viewers. I'm guessing 20 to 30 people. It was hard to guess how many people showed up. And one guy showed up in particular. His name is Wayne Miller from Miller Dyno Services. And in his trunk, he had a Greenard number 3 arbor press, and he said, that he brought it for me. So I was extremely excited to get this thing, and I'm thinking that me and my lovely wife Elizabeth are gonna do a husband and wife restore on this. At least we need to build a stand for it. We need to build a press plate for it because it's missing the actual press plate. Make a proper handle for it. Right now it's just got a bent piece of tube inside where the handle goes. And, you know, give this thing a paint job. And I plan to stick it right over here in the corner. So, what do you guys think about that? Maybe a, you know, Elizabeth project in the works. I'm excited about it. And I'm definitely excited about this press. I didn't have an arbor press, and for some things, you know, they're just extremely handy. So thank you, Wayne. I really appreciate the press. I mean, who wouldn't? It is an amazing piece of history, and you know, it'll be beautiful. Now, the meet and greet was a lot of fun. I really appreciate, you know, all the people who showed up. It was a very memorable event, and went really well. I didn't get a lot of footage. There was copyrighted music played all the time when we were there, and it was so loud.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have been able to hear anything that was said anyway. I may throw in a couple clips, but that was it. So I really appreciate the guys who showed up. I really appreciate you watching the videos, as always. So thanks to everybody who sent something into the channel. We truly appreciate it. Makes life easier around here. Thanks to my patrons, and viewers, and subscribers. And that's it. Tell me what you think about the potential project. So that's it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.